How do you build a business when your personal life is a mess? Hi, welcome to another episode of Business Mindset Mastery. My name's Heather Gray. I'm a mindset and performance coach for business owners, leaders, and entrepreneurs. And today we're going to talk a little bit about what happens when your personal life is messy as anything. How do you stay focused on building a business? Should you even be building a business? Are you just supposed to be focusing on getting cash in the door? How do you prioritize? How do you feel confident when everything behind you feels so messy, and everything in between? So we're going to dig into a listener question today, so let's get going. I want to build my business and be successful so I can provide for my family properly. I'm in the financial network marketing business. I really believe in the company. However, I can't seem to connect with people on a meaningful level. I'm struggling with home life right now. My daughter has a drug addiction, my husband's an alcoholic, and I'm consumed with looking after both of them. He lost his driver's license recently, so now I have to drive him to work. He is the only means of income right now, and he has a very good job at the waterfront, but it's slow right now. So we're struggling with money at the moment. I can't seem to think. I'm completely overwhelmed. I really want to build my business and contribute to the family finances. I want to make my own money and move our lives in a direction that it should go. Thanks for your help. Okay, so you've got a doozy. This story you're bringing to the table is heavy. It's filled with hurt. It's filled with heartbreak. It's filled with disappointment. And it's filled with a lot of trying and having your best efforts not work out. It is really hard to feel confident, to feel capable of putting yourself out there to the world to offer a service or a product when you feel like everything behind you and behind the doors of your home is just so messy. The first thing I need you to do is deal with the mess. I know that it would be so easy to kind of cover it up and not look and look away and just go and build something shiny and new. But this mess is going to be your biggest obstacle to success if you don't deal with it head on. And one of the things when I say look at it and deal with it, I don't mean that you need to get both your husband and your daughter stone cold sober, back on their feet with, blazing trails behind them before you take your own turn and before you start your dream. But you do need to take stock in how you're doing, how this has affected you, how much gas you have left in your own tank, how much energy you have, what you're capable of adding to something new right now, and what you're willing to do for your dream, given that you're already doing a pile of things and have a pile of responsibility that you never asked for. I don't want to get into all of the family dynamics around addiction because that will just take us to a different show. But what I do want you to do is do a gut check for yourself on how you're doing, how you're feeling, how much sleep you're getting, what your own health is like, what your own sort of energy levels, your mood, your own mental health, all of that. You have to know what you're dealing with yourself, what you're bringing to the table. And I am sure, I'm positively sure that you feel beaten down by life and you feel largely incapable, because that's reflected in the statement you made about having a hard time connecting to people. It is really hard to connect with people when you leave 3/4 of your regular daily life behind you, checked behind a wall, because addiction in the family is something we don't talk about. So my story about you immediately is that you deal with people all the time who have no idea the story you're carrying, the weight you're holding, how heavy your life is. And it's really hard to build meaningful connections when people don't know who you really are, what your life is really like, and what you're really dealing with. What I want you to do is to take a second to take stock so that you know. And then I want you to look at What are you willing to do for your dream and your business? Because dreams and businesses are the long game. And what you talked about here is needing cash to help you support the family. The first thing I'm going to tell you, if you're supporting the family with cash, you want to make damn sure that any money you add to this story, any money you bring to the table is money used for expenses, is used for good, and is not used for addictive, disruptive behaviors. You're going to have to own control over that. And you're going to have to make sure that you have securities and boundaries in place around the money you bring into the table, because the last thing you want is to build a business to make money and then have it used against you by your family. It is heartbreaking. I've watched family members, of clients of mine go through that, and you never want that to be your story. So that's the first thing you want to think about. The next thing you want to think about is, given how beaten down you've been, given how many challenges you have to face on an everyday basis, do you really want to build a business, or do you want to bring some cash in? Because those are two very different things. Owning a business comes with a set of responsibilities that's bigger than just bringing in cash and making money. It comes with marketing. It comes with putting yourself out there, asking for the sale, putting yourself out there confidently, offering a product or service and asking people to invest, and being the boss, which means holding accountability with yourself, which would sometimes mean not rescuing your family members the minute they need rescuing. Deciding to own a business also means deciding to be the boss. You want to make sure that that's your choice right now, that you have gas in your tank for it, and that you have the patience and the energy to see this through, because it can't happen overnight. It's going to take time. It's going to take concerted effort that you're not going to see the immediate results on, but you will see if you see the long game. If what you're needing right now is a release of the pressure off the pressure valve, and you do just need an influx of cash, that you know that you want to build a business someday, but right now you can't, I want you to decide, given that you're the one already carrying a freaking heavy load, what are you willing to do? How would you like to earn some side money? What are tasks or things that you would be invested in learning how to do, that you would want to do? What could you bring to the table? It sounds like you have this financial network marketing thing. So my guess is you have a lot of connections. You have ways that you could help other people. You probably have ways that other people could help you if you're willing to ask for help or you're willing to accept help. My guess is there's probably opportunities here where you could offer immediate freelance and consulting services, that you could just say, hey, I don't know if you need this, but I'm willing to do this in a way that isn't like big picture business building planning, but is on this, like, I need to earn some money quick. I have the skill set to do it, and I'm going to put myself out there, because it takes the pressure of owning a business off the table. It takes the responsibility of owning a business off the table, and it allows you to meet your immediate need while also leaving room for the fact that you're already managing your family. You are already the project manager of your family. So you want to make sure you set yourself up for success. And the only way you can do that is to be intentional, mindful, and deliberate in your decision-making process. So it feels like owning a business for a lot of people feels like the rescue. It feels like saving the day. It feels like something coming in and sweeping you off your feet. But it's also going to test you, challenge you, and put you in a place where you have to prove yourself. You want to make sure that you have the gas in the tank to do that. Otherwise, you can set yourself up for success by accumulating small wins, by earning money, getting yourself some financial independence so you don't feel trapped in decisions made simply because of money, that you can help contribute to health and healing and improvement for your family. You want to walk yourself through that. And then the next thing I would ask you to do is to think about, if your family wasn't sick right now, if they weren't struggling, if they had their stuff together, what do you want your life and business to look like? Because once you choose the path of money on the side or, building the foundation of a business, you want to have a vision and a picture of where you want this to go and where you want it to take you and how you want to get there. You carry the long game with you, because I think a lot of times what happens when people hear me say, like, do you want a business now or do you need just cash now? Part of what they hear is you're not good enough to own a business, or you're not ready to own a business, or you need to learn more before you own a business. And they hear me say that and they think I'm contributing to the story of not now, later, or not now, never. That's not what I'm doing here. What I'm doing is trying to ease the immediate suffering, to get the valve lifted off the pressure cooker so you feel like you can breathe. I'm offering you an oxygen mask, and I'm offering you like a mindful moment to decide how you want to get your oxygen and how you want to experience relief. The way you stop giving up pieces of yourself, the way you stop giving up hope on a future that's better than what's right now, is by thinking about the life you want to have someday and making sure the decisions you're making now get you there. So if you do decide you don't want to own your own business, but you want to stay in this financial networking marketing thing, what is the step that you can take to stay there but earn immediate cash? Otherwise, you'd end up becoming an Uber driver or a barista at Starbucks, and you would just be earning side money. But is there a way to earn a quick buck in the field that gets you closer to where you want to be, so that when your life frees up, when you're able to make decisions and not feel controlled and held hostage by family dynamics, you are already steps closer to the life you want as you've been getting ready for it, rather than making a quick buck at McDonald's and it has nothing to do with the financial networking marketing business. So I want you to think of both options as foundation building for the life and the business you want. You need to validate yourself. I would also make sure that you have connections and relationships with people who have your back, who are supporting you and who are holding you through this a little bit. And I would really encourage you to find some sort of group of people who are also dealing with addiction in their families, so you can make sure you're learning about codependent behaviors, so you can make sure that you're paying attention to your own health and learn about treatment options and all of that. But I also don't think that your entire identity has to be taken over by the fact that your family's struggling with addiction right now. You get to have a piece of the pie. You get to have a piece of your life that's just yours, something that's just for you, but we have to get you ready for it. Because if you go into it burdened, stressed, fried, crushed, you're not going to set yourself up for success. You're going to set yourself up to be used and abused by the outside world, just in a different way. You're going to be in a really reactive place in your life and business, rather than getting yourself in the driver's seat of the car and choosing the path and the direction you want to go to. I'm not the armchair expert here on family addiction. I'm never going to cover this entire story in a podcast episode. I really do encourage you to reach out to somebody for some ongoing in-person support. I think that there's a lot of places where online coaching is really super powerful. I can tell you that I would never offer support to a client around family addiction online, because it's already such an isolating experience. You really do need to have in-person people and real relationships, like in real life relationships that you can connect with and who can have your back in a judgment-free zone. And that takes some work with addiction, because addiction's tough. It comes with a side of judgment from society, from friends, from family, the whole nine. But if you don't have somebody who has your back, a best friend, a support group or something, all of this is infinite infinitely harder. I want you to remember to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Make sure you're breathing. Make sure you're rescuing yourself before you rescue your husband or your daughter, that you're taking good care of yourself and you're paying attention to the life you want, not the life you've been handed. There's no way. I feel like I should just keep talking because there's no possible way I could answer all of this and tend to all of this in a single podcast episode. So consider this my feeble attempt at starting a really important conversation that you need to have with yourself. Consider this company on a road less traveled, that there's other people listening who are going to be grateful that you shared your story and your struggle, that you talked about real life, because I think sometimes people think about mindset in just terms of motivation and inspiration and not in terms of how the F do I deal with my life. I think your letter is incredibly brave. I'm really glad that you told me your story here. I hope that my answer helps or gives you a start to the conversation and lets you know that you're not alone, that your life is your business and your business is possible. And I know you can get there, but we got to get you a firm, strong foundation first. I really appreciate you reaching out. I hope that this helps you in some way, and I'm wishing you peace. Thanks so much for listening. To everybody else listening as well, thanks for joining me today. If you want my 2 cents on your question, certainly find me just as our listener here did. Write to me over at heather@choosetohaveitall.com. I'd gladly have your back any day of the week. Thanks so much for listening to me today. I look forward to talking to you again tomorrow. Bye for now.
The podcast you just heard was recorded with Anchor. If you want to make your own, download the Android or iOS app completely free from anchor.fm/podcast. That's anchor.fm/podcast.